Hey everybody, Josh here. It's in a World Alternative Media here, and we do have some breaking news today that we're going to get into briefly. Make sure to hit the like button below and join us. So the breaking news today, and it happened late last night, but not a lot of news outlets are picking up on it, is that allegedly 2 U.S. mercenaries were captured in Venezuela attempting to assassinate Maduro, or so they say. That is what the news is saying. That is what the Venezuelan government is saying. I'm sure the U.S. government will have a different take on this, but nonetheless, the videos that are going viral right now, as you could see out of this tweet here, it says, captured U.S. mercenaries Luke Alexander Denman and Aaron Berry are in custody of the Venezuelan government. The 2 Silver Corp terrorists, as they say, claim work security for President Trump. And obviously we've been hearing the U.S. government talk for years now, as we've been reporting about attacking Venezuela, possibly sending military to Venezuela. Venezuela claimed that they stopped an attempted invasion about a week ago. And there's more up-to-the-minute breaking news as this comes in. You can see this video on the screen here of President Maduro showing the passports of these people that were captured allegedly attempting to assassinate him. And I'll let some of this video play out here. He's showing a passport first, and I believe here he shows a Texas driver's license of one of the people. And again, this isn't a black or white issue. It isn't all U.S. or it isn't all Venezuela. It is a combination of terrible governments that destroy people's lives. And obviously the U.S. wants their oil. Venezuela is hugely centrally planned and eventually would have come to a climax as it was anyway, regardless of the U.S., with the amount of stealing they do from the people, with the amount of regulations they have, with the amount of, first of all, they banned the guns, and then Maduro gave guns to his loyalists to purge opposition. He had the bunny plan a couple years ago where he tried to feed rabbits to his citizens. But at the same time, the U.S. has been heavily involved in trying to cause coups in Venezuela as well. Again, you could see the passport of one of the people stopped there, and the U.S. has been involved for a very long time in their attempt to overthrow Central American countries, well, countries around the world. We know that as a fact. I mean, look at Iraq, but then look at places like Chile and Argentina. Look at Operation Condor. There's allegedly some of the equipment of these people. It says, items collected upon capture of 8 mercenaries today in Chao, satellite phones, radios, identification cards and passports, tags, U.S. flag patches, uniforms belonging to terror operation head, and 30 April participant Antonio Seque, President Nicolas Maduro. Here's a video of him looking at all this stuff. As some people have been commenting below here, it looks like Venezuela doesn't want to exist for too much longer. It's an unfortunate situation because here, the U.S. is involved in attempted coups in countries around the world, but also Venezuela has done absolutely horrific things to its own people, and it's not black and white. It's governments that are enslaving their people under the guise of helping them, under the guise of saving them. The government isn't there to help you. It can only take away your freedom. It cannot give you freedom. As you can see here in this article, let me just scroll up if the ads go away here. 2 arrested U.S. mercenaries playing Rambo are paraded after failed attempt to kill Venezuela's Maduro, masterminded by former Green Beret, which president blamed on America and Colombia and left 8 attackers dead. Now, obviously, the blame will go around wherever it wants to go around as far as political benefit goes, but nonetheless, as it says, Luke Denman, 34, and Aaron Berry, 41, were arrested Monday, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro said. Maduro said they were among a group of mercenaries attempting to assassinate him. He has accused Trump administration and Venezuelan opposition leader Guaido, who have denied involvement. Guaido, of course, being a big supporter of the CIA and being and working with the CIA at one point in the U.S. No surprises there. The U.S. has led a campaign to oust Maduro, indicting the socialist leader as a narco-trafficker and offering a $15 million reward for his arrest in March. But it has nothing to do with our government, Trump said Tuesday of the failed plot. Ex-Green Beret Jordan Gaudreau, 43, has claimed responsibility and said its aim was to capture Maduro. Gaudreau has planned a coup was planning a coup by training 300 soldiers in Colombia, report says. As it continues, it says, he is a former associate of Keith Schiller, Donald Trump's bodyguard. Schiller accompanied Gaudreau to a meeting last May to discuss security with representatives of Guaido. A shadowy group of U.S. billionaires led by Rowan Kraft promised support for the private coup and also met with Schiller and Gaudreau. Kraft allegedly lured prospective donors with the promise of preferential access to negotiate deals in the energy and mining sectors with an eventual Guaido government. Guaido has said he has no relationship nor responsibility for any actions taken by Gaudreau, and that Maduro is using the incident as a distraction. Well, politicians will use incidents however they might, or however they want to. Again, if you're just joining us, U.S. mercenaries Luke Alexander Denman and Aaron Berry are in custody of the Venezuelan government. The two Silver Corp so-called terrorists claimed work security for Trump. Now, again, we've seen Venezuela go through an absolutely devastating period over the last few years. We've been reporting on it from the very beginning. We were calling for it for a long time as well regarding hyperinflation in the country, the Venezuelan Bolivar Fuerte's complete destruction, the massive amount of printing. Then, of course, the IMF loans, which also lead to, it's the same thing that China does around Africa. They loan more money than the countries can afford to pay back, causing the countries to basically collapse under the pressure to pay off debts, and the IMF comes in and buys up the country. And Venezuela is hugely dependent on oil and is one of the biggest oil countries in the world. And so for many reasons, there's benefit for the U.S. to try and overthrow them and take their oil or install puppet dictators or whatever it might be. But at the same time, Venezuela is headed by a massive left-wing, centralized, insane government. So there's no good side to this. I mean, there's crazy people on the left and crazy people on the so-called right, and they're all just central planners, and they all want to control everything. And Venezuela has been they wanted to install Guaido. Guaido was working with the U.S. government and was working with the IMF, and said that instantly, as soon as he gets into power, he wants to get a massive IMF loan for Venezuela, which is one of the number one things that also caused massive destruction to the monetary system there in the first place. Massive amounts of debt. Again, there's one coup after another, but there's also one government after another trying to gain control over the populace. So there isn't any good side to this situation at all. Again, captured U.S. mercenaries Luke Alexander Denman and Aaron Berry, and apparently some people died in the attempted coup and attempt to assassinate Maduro. If you're just tuning in, make sure to hit that like button. Super chats help a lot and help us actually reach people. It says here that we just lost all of the people watching. It shows on the screen that 0 people are suddenly watching. That's nice. Thanks YouTube for that. Again, we need your help now more than ever. This is it's ridiculous how much we're shadow banned here at World Alternative Media. If you could see it right now, it said we have 0 people watching. Anyway, so if you're just tuning in, Venezuela's President Maduro claimed to have stopped a coup and arrested 2 people that were from Texas that were working with the Green Berets, apparently, to overthrow the president and kill him. Obviously, we've heard of the attempts or the heightened security and heightened militarization in the ocean around Mexico and going after the Jalisco cartel. I'm in Mexico. I'm in Jalisco, so I was a little bit concerned when that was announced about a month ago. And now on top of that, a lot of people said at the time it was a veiled threat to Mexico, where the real issue was that they were going to go after Venezuela and overthrow Maduro, who they claimed was a drug trafficker and all this kind of stuff. Again, Maduro is a terrible person. He was arming his loyalists to purge opposition, and were killing innocent people in the streets. And I've talked to countless people that have been gunned down by the Venezuelan government, or have seen people gunned down by the Venezuelan government and lost everything, lost their business, are arrested for trying to sell things on the street. And it's just terrible. But also, it isn't black and white. It isn't U.S. or Venezuela. It's both. the U.S. has been trying to invade Venezuela or create problems in Venezuela. We're working with the IMF with massive loans to Venezuela that were impoverishing citizens, and they wanted to take their oil because Venezuela is one of the most oil-rich countries in the world. So it isn't black and white. I see people all the time. It's all Venezuela's great. They're humanitarians. They're trying to stop the big bad U.S. And it's like, okay, well, the CIA is always trying to intervene in Central America. But then at the same time, Venezuela